Add-ons have always been a critical aspect of WoW. They do a lot for us, and improve our quality of gameplay by a lot. So much in fact that some of the more popular ones eventually do get put into the game by the developers. And add-ons can do so many things for us and transform the game in a lot of different ways. Which is why I decided to put together this video going over all the best add-ons that I think you guys need to use, whether it be for Mythic Plus or raiding or any other aspect of the game. But be sure to stick around for the very end where I'll be going over my personal recommended add-ons that I've been using for years, and still intend on using for Dragonflight. Sound good? Alright, let's get into the video. For years we were stuck with the same old default UI for WoW. It was pretty limited with what you could do with it. Every so often they would roll out some minor tweaks or changes, like for example back in Legion when they updated the character stat page, giving us a better looking but simplified UI for our stats, or even when they fixed up the flight paths so that they looked a lot neater. But the point was, nothing really huge changed. Not entirely, at least until now. When you really think about the new UI, it's actually gotten rid of a lot of need for a lot of different kind of add-ons. I think the big two that come to mind were any form of action bar add-on like Bartender, which was the main one that I used. Bartender allowed you to move and change the way your action bars looked. MoveAnything was another one that I used, which did exactly as it sounds. It lets you literally move anything on the UI around to where you wanted it to go. Another big one for the perfectionists out there was the Perfect Pixel line. In this add-on, it basically put a huge grid that you could change the size of and basically gave you a frame of reference so you can move everything around and make everything nice and perfect. So now we begin with what I call the quality of life add-ons. These are add-ons that I could never live without, and I think they make the game a whole lot smoother. HandyNotes is an add-on which marks key locations and all kinds of things on your map and your minimap. It covers things like rare mobs, treasures, and collectibles, as well as battle pets and trainers. RareScanner is very similar to HandyNotes, in which it's going to be marking locations on the map, but with RareScanner, it's mainly focused on rare mobs. So it's going to be marking of all the locations of basically all the rare mobs on the map, and it's also going to pop up a huge ping and kind of let you know when you're near one. World Quest Tracker is another handy add-on which displays all the world quests for you and helps you track them. It's really good for previous expansions, and it's got some really great filtering options. Scrap Junk Seller is a simple add-on which basically just auto-sells your junk items whenever you talk to a merchant. It's one of those really simple and easy to use add-ons that you don't even really have to think about. It's perfect for keeping your bags clean, and I highly recommend this one. Speedy AutoLoot is another one of those kind of automatic add-ons that you really just download and forget about, but basically what it's doing is it's going to be making you loot things as fast as the game lets you. And I don't exactly remember how it does this, but it basically kind of does all these little internal things, and you literally loot things as fast as you can. There's not a lot of delay to it. So it's really good for people that are trying to level up or just looting a bunch of stuff. TomTom is a coordinates add-on which helps you add waypoints and navigate around the world. It's really handy to have because anytime you need to find a location or something, you can just look up the coordinates of it and then type /way and get the coordinates of it, and basically kind of acts like a GPS. And one really nice feature I like about the add-on is that you can add multiple waypoints and basically create a route with it, and that's what I used when I was basically getting all the talent points for dragon riding. So now we're going to be going over some of the add-ons that you'll be needing for either raiding or Mythic Plus. I decided to put them all together in this section because both of them have a lot of the same add-ons, and rather than going over the same ones over and over again, I decided to just kind of put them all together. So let's first go over the add-ons that we're going to be using for both of them. And the first one is quite literally the best add-on in the game to have, hands down, and that's DBM, or BigWigs if you like that one. You can choose either one of them, they both do the same thing. But either way, they're both going to provide you with a ton of information for all the different types of fights and all the different raids, and they're just really awesome to have. GTFO is another really useful add-on that I swear by, and while it still can be a little bit of annoying, it's saved my life a lot. The way it works is that anytime your character is standing in some fire or some kind of ground effect that deals damage to you, it's going to spam a loud warning at you until you get out of it. You can already imagine the kind of frustration that you'll see when you're just standing there and it's just honking at you. It's just super annoying and it forces you to play better. Granted, you can change the sound clip to be whatever you want, and you can also adjust the sound volume so it's not as loud. But either way, trust me, your healer is going to thank you for having it. Details is another very important add-on. This is the one where all the DPS are going to be using it to brag about how much damage they do. No, but seriously, it's a really great add-on to use because it's going to give you not only, your damage, but a ton of other different information that you didn't even realize you needed until you have this add-on. It's just that powerful. So yeah, man, it's going to show you a ton of information. It's going to show you healing. It's pretty much going to track anything you need to know about the fight, how you died, what spells are being used, how much damage your spells are doing individually, what kind of damage your buffs are providing you. If there's like a damage ability that, a certain ad in the raid's doing and you need to know, who's not doing enough damage on it, you can look that up. So it's a really insightful tool. WeakAuras is another insanely important add-on to have because of how many things it can do. It's essentially a framework that allows the display of highly customizable graphics for your UI. Think of it as a totally customizable UI within the game's UI. The main use of WeakAuras that I've seen is for tracking boss mechanics and then also tracking or monitoring your spec abilities, both of which are incredibly useful to have. You can even use WeakAuras for adding custom artwork and just really cool designs to your UI, so that's something that you guys can use it for as well. So now that we've covered the similar add-ons for Rating and Mythic Plus, let's focus more on just the Mythic Plus specific ones. And the first one we're going to talk about is the Mythic Dungeon Tools. This add-on is essentially a planner which allows you to map out routes for Mythic Plus dungeons, so that you essentially know which packs to pull and how much percentage those packs do. Now, I will say that this add-on is probably more towards tanks or, groups of players that take Mythic Plus really seriously, because when it comes to routes, that's really more kind of on the tank. So if you're a DPS or you're a healer, then I would say you probably don't need this add-on. Raider.io is a companion add-on that goes along with the Raider.io website, and essentially what this add-on does is it's going to record and give you a score based on, how many Mythic Pluses you've done, what the highest level Mythic Pluses you've done, how many you've done, all that kind of stuff. And it's going to give you a score, very similar to like how your gear score is. And in fact, Blizzard built their own in-house system for this based off Raider.io. So technically you don't really need it, but a lot of people still use this over the default UI now. And if you're someone who's trying to do high keys, then you probably need to have this add-on, otherwise people aren't going to take you seriously. Angry Keystones is an add-on which provides you with a ton of information for Mythic Plus in your dungeon, gives you more timers, and basically kind of gives you a whole bunch of extra details that you're going to need to do your runs. Astral Keys is a useful add-on by showing you and everyone in your guild who has the add-on which Mythic Plus keys everyone has. And this is nice because you don't have to ask everyone in your guild, hey, who has keys, blah blah blah. You can just see what everyone has and message people if they have a dungeon that you want to do. OmniCD provides you with a display of the cooldowns of everyone in your group and lets you know the timers of their abilities. So yeah, it's a really useful tool. And another really useful tracker on it is basically it lets you see everyone's interrupts, so that way you can better coordinate, who's interrupting what and, yell at the person who's not interrupting. So now let's talk about raid add-ons. These ones are going to be pretty short because we already covered all the really important ones, and I just want to highlight a couple of raid specific ones. So the first one we're going to talk about is the Mythic Raid Tools. Now this add-on is primarily used by raid leads and officers for creating notes about different fights and, setting up cooldowns and things like that. And the big takeaway from this add-on is just the notes that it has. So you can choose to have the notes displayed on your screen so that you can always see them, and so that's really useful for anything that the raid officers or, people like that want to put there for you. So now let's talk about some fun add-ons. Now these ones aren't required, but I would say that, they are worth your time and maybe checking out and seeing if you guys like them or not. So the first one is called All the Things, and this add-on literally tracks everything to do in the game, giving you a nice kind of clear path to complete everything in the game. A nice feature that it has is that anytime you change zones, it's going to track zone specific things for you to do, so you could essentially just go zone to zone, completing everything in the game. AutoTurnIn is another handy add-on that I use sometimes when I'm leveling, and pretty much that's just about it. So basically it does what it says. It automatically picks up and turn-ins quests for you. So it's really handy if you're just trying to level up really quick, and you just kind of fly through all the quests. Just keep in mind that sometimes it does bug out, and you will need to turn it off and delete a quest or re-pick up one once in a while, but I would say this only happens maybe once or twice a day, so it's really not that bad. SexyMap is another fun add-on to mess around with, and basically it'll turn your minimap into a really cool looking graphic, and the add-on itself has a ton of different options to choose from. You can even change the shape of your minimap to a square if you'd like. And a really fun add-on to try when you're leveling is called Immersion. This add-on changes the way that you talk to NPCs and pick up quests. So if you're looking for something for more of an immersive or just a more RPG kind of feel to the game when you're doing questing, I would say this would be a fun one to try out. So next up are my favorite add-ons. But before we get into any of my favorites, I just want to ask you guys that if you guys are enjoying my content, to please subscribe to my channel. The road to 1,000 subs is slowly getting closer, and I'm trying to reach that before the next year. So with your guys' help, I can hit that no problem. But enough of that, let's get into my favorites. So by now we've gone over a bunch of different add-ons that can be quite useful, but what about the add-ons that I use? The ones that I've been using for years and I literally can't live without. HeroRotation is an add-on that basically gives you the best possible DPS by suggesting what abilities to use in what order. The way it does this is it basically uses the same API that Simulation Craft or RaidBots uses to determine your rotation. And I always use this add-on anytime I'm trying to learn a new class or spec, or if I'm just trying to get back in the game and I'm feeling a little rusty. The idea is I use it kind of like a training wheels and kind of help me build my muscle memory of the rotation, and then once I get everything down, I stop using it. However, the big downside to this add-on is that at the start of an expansion or any big class changes, the add-on essentially is broken, and you kind of have to wait for the author to update the builds and make it good again. Plotter Nameplates is another great add-on that I swear by, and I use it a lot because the default UI for nameplates is pretty bad. With Plotter, you can customize it to your heart's content, and you can add some really awesome information on there. One really cool thing about this add-on is that you can download profiles that other people make for it over at the wego.io/Plotter website. Pre-made groups filter is an add-on that lets you filter out certain things when you're searching for groups. I really like this add-on because it lets you look at different groups and kind of set, so like let's say I only want to find groups that have a tank and don't have 3 DPS. So you can set the filter to only show those kind of groups. So it's really awesome. Alright, so now that you guys have a good list of some great add-ons to pick up, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and got something out of this. Let me know in the comments which add-ons you guys are using and maybe suggest some ones that I didn't post. Either way, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, and like always, don't forget to smash and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching my content, and I will see you guys in the next video.